Debbie's going to tell us what to do when ICE is at your door. And more.
And more.
And more. It's a poem.
So I've heard a theme here today, and I'm grateful for Connie to come out and also for Anna to tell her story, but then also for the conversation to have started of how we change the narrative. I see you, Maureen. I got you. Okay, can you hear me now? All right. Right, and the narrative is that we're a racist society, and I am white, and my story is that my parents immigrated here from Brazil. I'm born here. I was raised in Brazil and came back and didn't realize my own privilege until I began really representing people and then telling people my name, which is Deborah Gonzalez. I am a white woman. I view myself as a white woman, but I think that the narrative needs to change by the white people in the room changing the narrative. This isn't a black person problem. This isn't a brown person problem. This is a white person problem, and we, the white people in the room, need to change that narrative. We can't keep doing what we're doing and expect there to be change, because I think that's the definition of crazy. So we'd all just be crazy just because we keep doing what we're doing. So I wanted to say that because I think for myself, and I'm going to be a little selfish when I say, I've been learning about my own racism, and although I'm an immigration attorney, and although my parents are immigrants, I said many racist things in my life that I absolutely regret and certainly didn't mean, but didn't recognize how the other person felt, and we all just need to stop and think about what is that other person feeling when I am saying the words I'm saying. So if we could just all think about that, and that's not what I'm going to talk to you about today, but that's kind of been the underlying theme of everything that's been going on with this administration, and we need to recognize that as leaders in our community. We all have a role to play, and the biggest role we play here today is to change this narrative that black people and immigrants don't matter, which is absolutely not true. Which is, right, immigrants have rights. And people don't think they do because everybody says they're illegal and there's no such thing as an illegal person. And in fact, we haven't even used that word in this room today, and it's because that word doesn't exist. Immigrants have rights. They have the right, constitutional rights. Now, not all constitutional rights attach to people who are undocumented. So what are the rights that do attach? The Fourth Amendment right, the right to not be searched or arrested without there being a valid warrant. They have a right to remain silent. And for those of you who deal with this immigrant population, please tell your clients to remain silent. The immigrant population, particularly Latinx population, tend to think that if they tell whatever that officer is asking, that that's going to make it all better. It's not. And if they just remain silent and don't say anything other than their true name, they are better off for it. 9 out of my 10 clients, I'm going to say 9.5 because most of them do this, tell immigration what their name is and tell immigration where they're from and that they don't have documents. Immigration has to prove whether or not somebody is not born here and doesn't have documents. The moment the client tells immigration, I'm not born here and I don't have documents, they just did immigration's job for them, which makes my job as the lawyer a whole lot harder. So if you are dealing with this population and they come to you with an immigration issue, please do tell them that they do have the right to remain silent and that they should practice that right in the mirror, right? Because again, I just said I'm a woman of privilege, right? I am. And I have the courage, although I might be shaking, to go in front of an officer and say, I don't need to give you whatever information you're asking me for. That immigrant client may not have the same courage. And so they need to practice those things. And it's okay for people to practice, right? It's okay for them to actually practice with you, practice with themselves. I make them practice with me when I see clients. But to know that they do have the right to remain silent, but what they should never do is lie. So if they're going to lie, remain silent, give the true name, and say not another word. They also have the right to due process. So they have the right, every immigrant who's undocumented in the United States has the right to go to court, confront their accuser, which is going to be immigration, and to present evidence for them to be able to show that either they're here lawfully or that they have relief available to them. They also have the right to a lawyer, but not a free one. So it's not a Sixth Amendment right, the right to a free lawyer, right? But they do have a right to a lawyer. There aren't very many free ones. You know, my immigration clinic represents indigent clients, as Linda said earlier, through my law students, and my docket now is pretty full. I don't have, unfortunately, the resources or the capacity to represent infinite numbers of people, but we have an awesome Immigrant Coalition attorney sitting in the audience. By the way, you all get to know her soon. And we're hoping that through the coalition we'll be able to be representing more people who can't afford to pay a lawyer. But there are plenty of lawyers out there who will do some work at a lower rate. And if they need a lawyer, they can certainly call me, and I'm happy to call one of those private lawyers and force them into a lower fee. You know, it's a small bar in Rhode Island, we don't know each other. I talked about that they have the right to not be arrested and not be searched without a warrant. So you all either work in healthcare or education or the government, wherever it is that you're all from today, know that your clients have the right to see a warrant. And I don't mean a warrant from immigration court. So if ICE shows up at your door, you want to be asking that person, do you have a warrant? And it's a warrant that needs to say United States Federal Court. So it could be the United States Federal Court of the Rhode Island District, or it could be the United States Federal Court of the Massachusetts District, or any other district, but it does have to say United States Federal Court. So immigration, when somebody goes to immigration, an immigration judge issues a deportation order. And all it is an order from the judge that says, you know, so-and-so is going to be deported or has been ordered removed, which is the word that we use, right? They're ordered removed from the United States. If an ICE officer shows up at the door with that removal order, that is not sufficient to arrest somebody, and it's not sufficient to do a search or to really even come to your facility. They need to have a federal court order that very specifically lists the correct name of the client, and it needs to be signed by a judge, and it needs to specify whether they're doing a search of the premises or whether they're arresting the person. So, for example, if the client's name is John B. Smith, but now they want the warrant says John Smith, well, you know, that's not the correct warrant because the name is not complete. Right, the name is John B. Smith, not John Smith. So really take the time to look at the warrant and make sure that the warrant has the right information on it before you just kind of, you know, have your client go. Now, of course, if they have the warrant with the right information, you know, you have a duty, and so does the client, to surrender. But most of the time, that is not going to be the case. You also want to be sure that you're paying attention to the credentials of the person, because as I understand the law, Providence Police can't come in with a federal warrant and make an arrest. They don't have jurisdiction for that. So ICE needs to be there, and most of the time there will be, you know, the municipal police along with ICE making the arrest so that, you know, there aren't questions of why are you even here. But the idea that they can't, meaning ICE, can't just come into a facility and first of all be recognized as a federal officer and then even be allowed to be in your facilities is something that agencies need to recognize. And Sarah's going to talk to you more about what her school has done, which is really significant. And I commend all the work that the learning community has done to really protect their immigrant families. The other thing I want to say is that we talked a little bit about safe spaces. The policy memo, and I know Connie talked about this, right? Safe spaces is still a policy that DHS, Department of Homeland Security, still has in place. So churches, hospitals, and healthcare centers are still safe spaces, presumably, unless, of course, ICE has a warrant that's been properly signed with the person's proper name on it, and ICE has reason to believe that the person's going to be there. Otherwise, those spaces are still safe. And if I'm not mistaken, I know Senator Cano and Rep. Grace Diaz have already left, but there is a bill pending at the House now. Who is it again? Barrows is, I don't know if Barrows is, but somebody named Barrows, named Sarah can talk about that, has a bill pending now for there to be safe spaces, for us to codify safe spaces in Rhode Island. So to the extent that you can, please do support that bill, because I do think that's important. But just one last duty of immigrants living in the United States. No one has a duty to carry documents. I don't have a duty to carry my ID with me. There's no duty. There's no law that says that I have to carry my ID. Neither does an undocumented immigrant have a duty to carry their ID with them, right? The only people that have a duty to carry a green card or what's called a work authorization card, which is not status per se, but it's just a card that says that that person can work, are those two people. And I always tell clients, never carry those cards around because they're really expensive to replace. I usually will have, and will do through my clients, a colored copy of those particular cards so that they can put it in their wallet. So only lawful permanent residents by law have a duty to carry their green cards with them, and people who have employment authorization have a duty to carry their employment authorization cards with them. Otherwise, there is no duty to carry anything. So if ICE shows up at your door and says, we want every document for everybody who's here undocumented, and if they don't have it, we're arresting them, that's baloney. That's absolute baloney. If they want to arrest somebody, they need to have a warrant to arrest. And please, please,